This lesson for Algebra 2 from page 1127 covers pages 19 through 20. Radicals inside of radicals. Wow, how radical is that? So look at these. Woohoo! Notice in all three cases, I want you to notice two things here. One is that the base, the number inside the radical, is the same in all of these cases. That's very important. If they were different, we would not be able to solve it. But because they are the same, there's a trick we can use using fraction exponents like we used in the previous lessons. Secondly, I want you to notice that this is not me writing this sloppily. This is the way this is. This radical symbol continues over the top of this one. This one continues over the top of this one, okay? So we have a radical inside a radical. Let me start with this one. This is one of the ones that actually was an example on the homework. On the lesson explaining it. So I'm going to go through just exactly what the PACE has there, and let's just talk our way through it. And then we'll get you started on two of these problems that you have for homework, and then you can finish them. Let's take this first one. The biggest radical is going to turn into a square bracket, okay? The smaller radical underneath is going to be a parentheses inside the square bracket, okay? Do you see what we did? The big bracket becomes the big radical becomes the square bracket. Now I'm going to put the 7 here and the 7 here, this 7 and this 7. And now we're going to do something with these exponents. Do you remember, if we don't see the index, we can assume it's 2. And remember, the exponent here is 1. So I can write the exponent on this 7 as being 1 over 2. 1/2 is that fraction exponent. And then this 3 out here becomes a fraction out here, okay? So it's 1/3 outside the parentheses, the bracket. Now, I don't see any exponent on the 7, so we can assume that is 1. All right, now what do? Well, we're going to take, when we have an exponent raised to an exponent, we always multiply those exponents together. I don't know if you remember this from previous classes. Let's say 2 to the 3rd power raised to the 5th power would become 2 to the 15th power. You'd multiply those exponents together. So we're going to do the same thing here, except we have fractions. 1 times 1/3 is 1/3. Times 7 to the 1/2 times 1/3 is 1/6. Okay? Now we need to add these two fractions because now the base is the same. So we add the exponents. So we need to get a common denominator. So 1/3 would become 2/6. Okay? 2/6 plus 1/6 is 3/6, which reduced is 7 to the 1/2. Okay, so we just simplified that one by using the fractional exponents. Let's take this one and we'll just set it up. So let's think through those steps. So you do this on your homework page with me. We'll set up a square bracket to represent that radical. Put a 13 here. This one is going to become parentheses with a 13. And an exponent, since that index is 3, the exponent is 1/3. Because this index is 5, we'll do an exponent of 1/5. Okay? And then we assume this is 1. So we're going to write this as multiplying the exponent. So 1 times 1/5, and you can put that right here. And then times 13 to the 1/3 times 1/5. Put that one right there. All right? And then it's just a matter of adding those two exponents. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad, all right? It is very different, though, than anything you've done thus far. Let's set this one up. All right, square bracket, parentheses, 6, 6. This one is just an index of 1. This one is a 1, but to the 1/5, to the 5th root, so 1/5. And now I don't see an index out here, so we can assume that it is 1/2. All right, that's as far as I'm going to take you on that. Hopefully you see the steps to get it this far. And now you'll take this exponent times 1/2, and then this exponent times 1/2, and then you're going, since you have the same base, it's just a matter of adding the exponents. All right, go ahead and finish that. We'll be back. There's another very interesting lesson on page 21 coming up.